One, can a facade be flimsy and half-baked, or is that the facade?
Yes, a facade can be ad hoc, shall we call it, where you put it together on the fly, and we frequently do it. An example is most people are pretty sensitive emotionally without being aware of their own sensitivity. So what happens is you walk into a room, you feel a certain vibe, and all of a sudden you know what you've got to become to meet that vibe. Does that make sense? And most people will become what the vibe presents, will become what the vibe demands. And when I say vibe, what it is the amalgamation of the soul desires of all those people present in that particular location. And so we walk into a location, the amalgamation of all the people present present a vibe, a soul-based condition, which our soul can feel, and then we instantly, depending on what injuries we have, we instantly try to meet those particular things. So that's like creating a facade on the fly. Does that make sense? Yeah. And pretty much everybody does it. Yeah. Yep. The more rigid a person becomes, the more, and usually that comes with older age, usually the less they do it, but they just walk away from it. You know, they say, oh, this doesn't feel good, I'm leaving, type of thing. They don't meet the vibe, if you like, meet the demands. But the younger we are, the more highly likely we are to actually meet that vibe.
Trying to fit in and be cool and all that.
Yeah. So the younger we are, because we're more emotionally sensitive when we're younger, and because we haven't learnt yet that, you know, sometimes meeting a vibe is hurtful to self, frequently we'll meet it. That doesn't mean the older person is not in a facade. They're just in a facade that's not comfortable with that environment.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we're better off if we're going to be in that. Well, wait a minute.
What were you going to say?
Sorry, if we find ourselves like becoming a facade in an environment, we're better off leaving. Or just questioning it?
Yeah, see, again, for myself, my feelings are you're better off sort of just sitting down, getting to an alone place if you can in that environment, sitting down and just still feeling the vibe, still feeling the actual soul, amalgamation of the soul condition of that location. Sit down and think, what am I responding to here? Why is this sort of calling me? You know, why is this drawing me into its web, you know, because that's what it is. And question why. Yeah. If, of course, you feel that it's drawing you into sin, in other words, it's drawing you into doing things that are out of harmony with love, then you'd probably be wise to leave until and still sit with the feeling that you had. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In other words, you're better off taking an action that removes you from from a location calling you to sin than it is to stay in it and as the saying goes, tempt fate. When I feel it's really tempt your own addictions. Yeah, you see. But that again is a soul-based choice, isn't it? Like you'd have to choose to do that. Yeah. Many times, you know, something might happen by so-called accident, but our soul is usually always attracting things. Something happens, our soul's attracted it. We think it's a bit of an accident, you know, it's a combination of events that are pretty unlikely, but it's happened. And then what we decide to do with our will becomes the key critical factor. Does that make sense? So we can decide to leave a location that's influencing us in a direction that we know is going to turn out bad. So for example, as a young guy, you know, going and playing at gigs, for example, you know, there's times when girls will come up and they admire you and they want to, you know, and they think that taking you to bed's the way to get some approval and so forth, and you get that offered to you. You know it's not in harmony with, you know, your morality or sense of ethics. And so what would you do? Would you stay in these kind of environments all the time? Or if you have the addiction to do it, then you'd be better off first working on the addiction, wouldn't it, before you went back to those environments? Otherwise, there's a higher likelihood that you would engage the offer. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's very good questions.
Good answers, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. He's a, he was sincere so when he even said that. Kelly, thank you. Thanks.